Seems like XRP, no matter where it goes, it always, gets pushed back. And I'm going to be showing you key chart areas today, if you guys haven't already, on what we have just seen. But obviously, not a good look for XRP. Let me tell you, it's not a good look, guys, at all. So look at this. Japan just initiated the XRP crisis. Very, very scary.
And has just initiated what will now be known as...
Look at this prices. Every time we try to break out during the weekends, we get pushed back. And that's what I'm telling you guys. It's going to be trading in these key ranges until something changes.
The stock and crypto market crisis because of the bond yields. I mean, it's a very simple equation. When bond yields rise a lot, it sucks up global liquidity, and Japan is the first mover and the first aggressive mover in this regard. This is going to have a huge impact on XRP in the short term. But what happens long term is, I think, what we need to be focusing on here, because if we can see through a lot of the clamor, a lot of the noise, a lot of the bearish short term stuff that is going on here, I do think...
I mean, this is the news I saw of the week. This was like driving mile an hour and then being surprised there will be a crash. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody expected that, except like maybe people who wanted to do last second trades before it happened. And yeah, this is bad because a lot of these banks borrowing the dollar itself are going to be now, trying to off-sell this. That's the big news. But I feel like a lot of banks were prepared for this already. But still, it will impact the markets.
I think that there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we're talking tremendous light. So let's dive deep into this. Japan's 10-year bond yield has officially surpassed the 2008 financial crisis. Now, I posted this on X this morning because I do think a lot more XRP volatility will be coming as a result of this. I'll give precise reasons why that is the case, why global liquidity drying up actually causes a lot of turmoil in the crypto assets specifically. But I want to show you guys this chart real quick because it does tell a very compelling story. Right here is the 2008 financial crisis, 10-year bond yields for Japan just below 2%. This is today. We are now actually just above 2% on the 10-year bond yield for Japan. This, generally speaking, has been an extremely bearish sign. I mean, the 2008 financial crisis, I don't think I need to...
I agree, but this going up, this is a bearish sign overall. This is, but it is an expected bearish sign. It's not like this is unexpected like we saw 2023. It's bad in that sense. It's not that crazy, in my opinion, that we weren't expecting that.
First thing that needs to be addressed here. We can see inflation in Japan has risen about 2.9% year over year in November, which is the second highest reading since July. And core inflation, which excludes prices of fresh food, rose over 3% year over year.
So yeah,
this marks
there is inflation, obviously, but also you guys have to understand the prices of wages. Like, wages are going up. We do have other positive news. Now, the wages aren't super high. How does this affect the XRP? Well, the thing is right now is this affects the XRP global economy. Again, these are macro market levels, which are already priced in my opinion.
44th consecutive month in China with inflation above the Bank of Japan's target rate of just 2%. And we can see rice inflation.
And also, guys, I'm using my trades on 2bit. If you guys want to get started, you can use the link in the description below for an XRP bonus. If you want to get started trading XRP today, simply click the link in the description below, click register to participate, and sign up over here for a free bonus. Like the video and join me, link in the description below. So yeah, you got a pretty clear idea of what's happening. Japan just initiated the XRP crisis. I don't think so. XRP still on to par to the markets.
And, companies as well will be pressured in an immense way as well, which is very unhealthy for the economy of Japan. So, yeah, I think until they get to this 2% goal, they're probably going to continue raising rates as they've done now. And I do think it's going to get even worse than it is now in terms of the
I mean, yeah, Japan is not the key factor, but it's one of the key factors we're getting for XRP recession.
10-year bond yields and the 2008 financial crisis, which does have the potential impact to make the potential collapse or the unwinding worse as well. Now, I know the question all of you guys are probably wondering is, okay, these policy rates that we've seen over the last year for Japan, all of the times that they have changed their rates, what has been the impact? I mean, what's been going on here? Well, if we go to March 2024, we can see the rate change was 0.10%. The new policy rate went from 0% to 0.1%, and this resulted in about a 27% drop for Bitcoin. July 31st, 2024, went from 0.15 to 0.25, so the new policy rate was 0.25%, and this resulted in another 26% drop. In January, we once again saw a 0.25% increase in the total new policy was 0.5%, which resulted in a 31% drop for Bitcoin. So what we can see so far is, yes, December just got a new rate change. We have yet to see this impact on the markets. There's been
I mean, didn't it super drop during 2022? So obviously this is going to be a correction, and nothing shows that we're entering a huge XRP wave of another bull run rally. There just isn't anything to put the macro markets into a positive like trend line. So what I'm seeing right now, like if we look at this, I'm using the array chart, but it's very positive that we're still trading between these two levels as set $2 and 1.84. And we might, for the foreseeable future, that's why I haven't taken any trades yet, because you never know what might happen. For example, right now I could open a long, but it's not going to be a long-term long. Like it's going to be a short-term long that I can take just some profit on. So I'm going to take a small profit on here. 5% stop loss, 10% up down, because it just crashed, right? On the 15-minute chart, obviously it seems like on a perfect position to go from here.
Rate that they're going to be having, their new policy rate, that's when the market's going to find its bottom or very close to that point in time. So this is something to keep in mind. I mean, it's undeniable the correlation here. You can see all of these drops aligning perfectly with every previous.
Like if you look at the 1-minute chart, it's not looking that great. I'm just going to open a long here, in my personal opinion, at stop loss at 3%. Because that's what we need right now. We need some sort of a massive bull run rally. But it's very clear it's trading these two ranges.
Rate hike in Japan. And the US, once again, does not have any immediate plans to decrease their rates. So it's going to create an environment which is extremely volatile in the short term, as a lot of investors are essentially going to be panicking, trying to figure out how to pick up the scraps in the meantime. Now, this does not mean that everything is completely negative and it's the end of the world, whatever. It's just,
I mean, injecting this into the market, this is bullish for XRP, which could pump the prices. I mean, could, but it's not like a certain indicator it's gonna pump the prices. So it's just another one of those, yeah, this is great, but it's not the main thing.
M2, even though they're not very closely interlocked with the rest of the world economy.
Exactly, that's what I'm worried about. Like, we're getting tons of news, oh, this is gonna change everything, but in the end, nothing happens. The price stays at 1.91. Even look, 1% up, that's great. But it doesn't change the fact that right now, XRP has been like this for months. So just remember this factor.
Economies in terms of reserves, it will help boost liquidity. And if more Chinese investors decide to get more heavily involved in cryptocurrency with their extra capital and maybe less so in real estate.
Isn't it like banned there?
Then that's going to be good too. What I will say is China does focus on China. They don't really focus on America. They don't focus as much on Europe. They just export.
And XRP is a US-based company. So let that sink in. I don't think this is bullish news at all. But again, it's good to be hopeful.
Allow them.
And again, 148 billion into the market is nothing for them. It's like pennies
to create these products.
But speaking about good stuff, I'm up on my trade, just like I told you guys, 3% up.
For much cheaper. And as a result, build a higher deficit, which they've been doing consecutively for many, many years now. And that has helped to grow their economy massively over the last few decades. And so I don't think that Japan adding a ton of liquidity is going to have a huge impact for the M2 as a result of that, because they're not mixing and intermingling that currency as much because they're tight controls. They only have 2.5% of the global M2 share, basically. They're not focused on that at all. But that does not mean that this is not a good sign. And we also are noticing right now in the United States, there's a small amount of stimulus coming in. They're adding a few $billions in stimulus through purchasing of treasury bills and that kind of stuff. So that's also something that is nice to see. And so, yeah, I think overall there is a very negative short-term catalyst here with Japan raising their rates. The impact so far has been undeniable. And so we have yet to see the impact of the latest hike, and we have yet to see the impact of future hikes. And so this is something that I think, need to pay attention to over the next 6 months for sure, and be prepared for. And so
I agree with that. Prepare for another market drop. Don't forget that these market drops can be pretty bad, in my opinion. It's not perfect, but it should get the job done. Again, we need to either see a drop so the whales can buy, or we need to see a bull run so at least something happens. At least something. But guys, if you want to check out my 2bit, link in the description below. Get ready for, banks are buying billions of XRP. Why is price not rising? $1.91 tells you the whole story. A lot of them are saying over-the-counter trade. I'm just keeping my positions open right now. I'm doing a trading challenge, and I'm going to open a trading bot later, but it's very clear that these banks are either buying OTC or these videos aren't buying enough. So I wanted to check this out.
This gets uncomfortable for a lot of people. Ethereum spot ETFs, they just posted a $75.9 million outflow. Yeah. You know who's...
So yeah, some big, it seems like the corporations are selling because we could be entering a long bear market.
Sold BlackRock's clients. That's right. But you know what happened at that exact same time? XRP ETF inflows.
And the ETF inflows are 24 million. That's why the price isn't rising. Literally because we're trading between these two ranges. I showed you guys on 2bit. I opened my trade. And we're going just the same ranges back and forth, 1.9 and $2. It just can't decide. And why would whales buy that price? They want to get it for cheap. They don't want to buy it at $5. They want to get it now, but they don't want to buy it 1.9. That's why we're staying the same at these prices and not much volume at all.
They started accelerating. That's right. We got the data, folks. Don't you worry about that. Now listen closely here. This is not an anti-Ethereum video. This is a capital rotation video. I want you to remember, money doesn't have emotions. Money doesn't have loyalty. It has objectives. And right now, well, those flows are telling a very clear story. If you're a retail crypto investor, this video matters. Because this is how institutional money actually moves long before the headlines explain it. Today, I'm going to connect two things most people are looking at separately. Your Ethereum ETF outflows, thanks BlackRock, and your...
I mean, Ethereum outflows are just people, not selling Ethereum. But track institutional flows, it seems like a lot of people want XRP to go up and they start buying it. It's also a newer thing. You can see here a lot of the whales are trying to push forward at 1.91.
BlackRock's clients. Why did they do it? Well, they reduced exposure. Now stop right there for a second. I know what you're thinking. ETH's dead. It's over. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is not even what this means. It does not mean that institutions are bearish on Ethereum long term. This is about relative opportunity. Institutions don't ask, which coin do I...
So I will just close this trade at about 2% profit at this point, 3% profit, whatever it is.
love. They don't care. They don't have emotions. They're not emotionally attached to these cryptos, everyone. But what they do ask is, where does my next dollar have the highest probability return with the lowest regulatory friction? Ethereum already had its moment. It already had its ETF approval. it had its market repricing, and it had
And it seems it's pushing out higher on the 1 minute chart. If you look up here, it's building some small resistance, which can be easily broken out by one whale dumping.
its public consensus. That means that the easy money phase, it is over for now. So what do institutions do next? That's the $1,000,000 question. And the answer to this question, it's very simple. They rotate. That's right. Now we're going to look at XRP. Because here's where things start to get interesting. Here's where things start to get spicy. Now, I made the videos in the past. I spoke about BlackRock. I made several videos telling you BlackRock is entering the XRP game. They haven't announced it yet, but as always, what do the institutions do? They front run the markets. They get their position. Once they are in,
They already bought a lot of XRP cheap, and as you can see, as I held my tray, literally as we are watching this video, we're up 4% on 2bit. That's what we're doing right now. We're calling the market as it goes live.
position, they are lined up. They have allocated
If you guys want to join me as well on 2bit on trading XRP competition, link in the description below. But yeah, it does seem like they are trying to buy XRP, but what we saw with the inflows and outflows is only 42 million volume.
the amount of money that they have set aside for these cryptos, then they will make the announcement. BlackRock's not going to come out here and tell everyone in the world that they're buying XRP. Why? Because the price is going to skyrocket. BlackRock doesn't want you pumping the price before.
I mean, they already bought. I'm guessing like their own would buy. I mean, BlackRock hasn't even listed XRP yet, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe next year.
They're able to accumulate their position. So what do? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Probably sounds familiar, right? Because you've probably seen FUD all over Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. FUD causes the price to crash. The price goes lower, BlackRock accumulates it, and when they are ready, they finally make that announcement. So now when we look at XRP here, no hype, no mainstream headlines, no retail frenzy, just flows, everyone. Wednesday, XRP ETFs did $50 million. Thursday, 65 million.
I meon, weren't we talking about billions of outflows? I mean, I get it. We were talking about lots of outflows, but it just doesn't make sense, right?
And then Friday, $60 million. That's not noise. That is constant accumulation. And this type of accumulation can only be done by one special group of people. We call them institutions. Retail doesn't have 50, 60, 65 million.
So yeah, we could probably close this out now at a profit of 6%. So yeah, I'm just going to close this one out. Flash close it, and that's it. Perfect.
Retail doesn't even have a million, folks. These are whales. These are institutional clients. These are pension funds that are coming in, insurance accounts that are buying up XRP. We heard it from Canary Capital CEO. He's one of these that actually runs the Canary XRP Spot ETF. And he just recently put out a video telling you who these people are, or these groups of people that are stepping in and accumulating XRP. Here's the key difference between your institutional accumulation and your retail accumulation. Retail, these price can.
Yeah, retail is the one that still hasn't gotten into XRP yet. So yeah, the upward potential is strong, but also for other crypto coins, they aren't super big.
Institutions accumulate before the story actually breaks, right? This kind of flow pattern, it tells you one thing. Positions are being built, not traded. No spikes, no emotional surges, just steady inflows. This is exactly
Small, steady inflows that one whale can dump. And that's what we saw. Look, 22nd December, don't forget. 1.92 all the way to 1.94, down to a big whale dump. Let's not forget a small bull run rally, 1.92 to 1.93. Another whale dump down to 1.91. So don't be fooled if the inflows right now, inflows are 60 million or whatever it is, or 24 million volume, because it's simply not enough. And we close this candle exactly when it's red.
what front running a market looks like. I mean, anyone who is watching XRP and watching these inflows every single day, you should be scratching your head, because just last week, the volume was around 20 million. We've 3x the volume. Why? Why all of a sudden? that the volume spike like this. Something is coming. Something major is coming. They tried to scare you with the Epstein documents.
I mean, I just don't agree with this that something major is coming. We have been hearing that for such a long time. So the major thing for XRP, it happened already this year in July.
Did absolutely nothing. They tried to scare you and push that false narrative of the Bank of Japan, the interest rates, it's going to crash the price of crypto. It did absolutely nothing. And all in the meantime, the institutions were accumulating. You sold your bag thinking that there was going to be a flash crash down to $1 because that's what certain people pushed out there, and the institutions purchased your bag. That is what you call a shakeout, and you fell for it. I've been here 8 years. I've seen this time and time and time again.
I mean, the institutions keep wanting to buy because that's how they make money, right? But at some point, they're going to sell everything and move to another platform.
When the risk is definable, when the narrative is forming, and when retail isn't paying attention. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now. But here's the mistake that retail makes every single cycle. This is my 3rd cycle. I am a 3-time bear market survivor. That's right. Retail always thinks that price comes first and then the money's going to follow after it. Institutions know that, hey, money moves first and the price will follow later. I've told you before, I will tell you again. Price is a lagging indicator.
I also agree with that, but you're usually going to see when XRP prices come up, you're going to see lots of green candles, lots of whales. I don't see any volume at all. That's the worst sign for a bear market. Again, this is the worst sign when you don't see anything proper. Look at this. It's crashing at 1.91 and there's just not enough volume to even push it to $2. Doesn't this tell you a story?
By the timeline, the headlines are telling you XRP is surging, institutional demand is through the roof. Their position's already built, and you're too late. That's why these flows look.
So yeah, we've been streaming a bit. We took a small break from streaming, but we're back daily with streams. Hope you're well as well. Just back to now we're doing a bit of trading, and we're actually positive here. We finished well, so that's the most important factor.
Measured and quiet. Someone isn't guessing. Someone is out here front-running regulation, clarity, and adoption. And by the time this crowd connects the dots on what's actually going on, the positioning will already be done. So here's the.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I honestly don't think the whales are gonna be buying big. Like, I've been looking at other crypto coins, and I don't think we're fully in a retail market. Look at coins like Shiba Inu, XRP, Zcash. These are one of the few ones that actually won this market cycle. And then there's many who did not do well. So we also saw Trump XRP law will change everything. Now, I was talking about Trump XRP law for some time, and this is what really makes a big difference. I have been trading on 2bit.
Something is
pretty often, but this was the thing. Like, first of all, we have retail coming in with those like $1,600 dividends we were hearing about on the news. That's the first factor. Huge bullish news, so smash the like button for that. Second of all, we have Trump XRP law, basically 0% tax. We do have some breaking info. XRP just did something no other crypto companies has ever done. Ripple isn't just trying to survive regulation, but they're building a bank. This ends speculation or whatever. But the price, is moving slow because they're actually building products over here. If we look at XRP chart, it's still nothing that what it was before.
They're actually becoming the regulation. Ripple Labs filed an interagency application, which is officially approved for Ripple's national.
So yeah, it does seem like it is building a positive support level, which means I can open now a short. I mean a long. I can open a bullish long here as XRP is trying to dig out of the hole. It used to be 1.93. Now going back, it definitely makes sense to open a long here, in my personal opinion, on my trade. Trades are risky, guys.
Trust bank in the United States.
Welcome.
A federally regulated trust bank. That's right. Not an exchange, not a fintech workaround. No loopholes here. A U.S. trust bank inside the system. And that application, it cleared 7 days ago. And that matters more than any courtroom headline ever did. You want to know why? Because I'm going to tell you, Ripple can custody digital assets at an institutional level. They get direct access to the US banking infrastructure. Liquidity is now going to move without intermediaries. Compliance.
So immediately as I open this trade, you can see that yes, XRP is still alive and well. It's kicking off, but it's kicking off slow. A lot of the whales are trying to push it back, dumping, making money, and that's the real problem.
It's no longer a risk. It's embedded. And XRP becomes financial plumbing, not an outsider asset. While other crypto companies fought regulators, Ripple did something smarter. They positioned themselves inside of the system. Now look, you don't have to like XRP. You don't have to actually even own it. But other crypto projects, they are this far along and becoming a regulated financial entity in the US. Ripple's the only one. No other crypto project is close. So that changes who's allowed to buy it and how much. And by the way, I've been here early before. Since 2017, I've seen it all. And this right here, this is a first, which moves us over to this because we are finally getting institutional confirmation.
I mean, institutions and XRP, if they're going to join anything, it's going to be XRP itself. They have the technology. So that's what I like to see. But I feel like a lot of these institutions, in my personal opinion, they're afraid of crypto. They want to say, XRP, we want to work with you, but push away this XRP coin. And that's exactly what Ripple is doing. It's slowly distancing itself. And I think in 5 years, 10 years, XRP coin is going to be used less and less. Not now, because they still need it. XRP needs it on how it pays for these fees, for the transfers, for the gas. But in the future, yeah, it's going to be something that, they want Ripple's technology like the banks, but they don't care about XRP, USDT coin. They don't care nothing about it.
And this is all stemming from the Clarity Act that's going to get passed early next year. This is Canaries Capital CEO Stephen McClurg, and he said something that most people, they're just going to skip over. He stated that your global pension funds and insurance companies are now showing serious interest in XRP ETFs. Let that sink in, because what I'm about to show you a little later on is there is a massive rotation leaving Ethereum ETFs and that money coming into XRP ETFs. We'll get into that in a second. Now look, pension funds, they don't chase memes. Insurance companies, they don't gamble. They buy assets that fit regulated settlement frameworks. He also stated that XRP is the rails for the financial system. That's pretty interesting because that's not marketing language. That's how Wall Street, that's how they talk when they actually understand an asset. Listen up.
Yeah, I would that usually when you launch a new ETF that hasn't been in the market before, it's usually retail adoption that happens first. So we've seen a lot of impact from the retail audience in the first week or two. And then we started getting calls from pension funds and insurance companies globally. And that's the second market segment that we market to at Canary. But we're seeing a lot of interest there. XRP is truly an asset that most of Wall Street and most of the global capital markets get.
So this is like the Canary Capital CEO, Stephen McClurg. Global pension funds and insurance companies are showing a lot of interest in XRP ETFs. I mean, if I would be an older person and I would be wanting to invest into crypto, it would most likely be XRP, in my honest opinion. It would be XRP. It would not be like Shiba Inu or another random meme coin where I could lose everything. I would want to put, again, XRP and crypto is risky, but I would want to put at least something that has a company behind it.
Institutional alignment. The institutions are going to enter the market and they're going to come in full force. What's the old saying? They're going to come out swinging. And then look at the flows. Look at this number right here. That was on Friday. But let's look at the past 3 days. Wednesday, 50 million.
So yeah, we do have volume, but again, guys, remember, we were talking about billions upon billions of dollars of volume. And what we got is 60 million, exactly as I predicted. So this volume clearly shows you that these ETFs that I have been hyping you guys about, and I made a mistake because they actually got less volume than I thought. They got like 50 million volume, is not enough to what we were expecting.
This is what I keep telling you. Institutions run the markets. That is what you were seeing. It's not sexy because the price isn't moving. Price is actually going down, and people want to know, how is the price going down if we just seen over $100 million buy XRP within the past 3 days? Because it's done over the counter. It doesn't hit the public order book. The public order book is what controls the price of an asset. Remember, big money, they don't chase candles. They build positions quietly before regulations hit, before clarity hits, before the crowd can act.
That's why they keep buying silently, but I know they have bought, a lot of them have bought XRP at $1. They have not bought it at $5 or $3. So let that sink in. They definitely got it at a very cheap price already. This is why the price is not pumping.
Actually connect the dot. This title isn't dramatic. It's the truth. Someone is front running this damn market, folks. And let me ground you with a little bit of perspective here, because Grant Cardone's out here and he made this video. He took 115 Bitcoin as a payment 13 years ago. Or I wonder, he was the guy who sold the Bitcoin pizza guy the pizza. It was only worth 50,000 bucks at the time. He never sold that Bitcoin. Today, that Bitcoin's worth $11 million. Most people are like, he got lucky. He didn't get lucky because he's still buying. He understands. He knows where this is going. That was conviction. Early adoption, it pays, folks. It pays to hold. I've been here 8 years. It has paid to hold XRP for 8 years. Patience compounds hardest and fixed.
This is the smart factor. This is what I agree. So except 115 Bitcoin as payment 13 years ago, like people were holding XRP for a long time and it's now paying off for them. But obviously a lot of people have also bought XRP at 3.66. Let's not forget that. If we look on the 4-hour chart, again, my trade is positive right now, which is good. But if you look, we're still down 30, 40, 50% from all-time highs, which keeps me still concerned. So as it can go up, it can also go down super fast.
Supply assets. Well, Bitcoin, fixed supply asset. XRP, fixed supply asset. Hold isn't a meme. Everyone thinks it's just a meme. Hold is a strategy. And Bitcoin didn't reward hype. You know what it rewarded? It rewarded time. And the same psychology, it applies here. Now for the political signal that's coming in, because Senator Cynthia Lumen said the Bitcoin and crypto market structure bill, it's about to pass. Her words, not mine. We are ready to roll. That's not speculation. That is legislative confidence. Here you go. Remember, markets do not wait for law to pass.
Now, this is the big bill we've been talking about. Obviously, ETFs didn't help as much, but this is the one bill that gives me hope, at
Stay
least.
positioned before they do. And folks, make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you're loving this bounce based on regular.
Ethereum spot ETFs record a net record outflow of 75 million on December 19th. I mean, we got inflows for XRP, but because it's new. I'm guessing if it's going to be a bear market, XRP would drop as well. If you guys check my trade right now, it's not moving that much up. It's actually trading sideways exactly between the ranges I told you guys.
Across 11,000 financial institutions. You see it on your screen. Through partnerships like Finastra and their existing client base. RippleNet already has 200 institutions connected. Tiny compared.
This is where XRP really wins. Like having all these partnerships, bam, it's an easy win for them.
Compared to Swift, I know, but that number, when it grows and it grows fast. But that's how integration works at the end of the day, right? Not disruption, but actual absorption. You can see this: Swift, Ripple, Xcurrent, banking customers, Finastra, how everything is connected. Now, Ripple's reach into Swift, it's unfolding through third.
Now Swift, if they can get even 13%, 10%, 5% of Swift market cap, they openly said, hey, we can get tons of money with that. So I'm hoping if they can get Swift on the board, this is going to be the next big thing for them. We do have another one. Shocking news, XRP repriced, XRP not for trade. I mean, what do you mean it's not for trade? Because I'm seeing here, the price right now is, as I open this trade, I'm having a trade open. I'm doing a challenge, $81, and we're trying to get as much as possible. Basically, I also open an XRP trading bot, but we're up 2% right now. It's very obvious that XRP is not pushing higher as we are having big whale drops every single time we try to push higher and higher, right? So XRP boom, Japan's bond market is breaking. Is this like changing XRP, or is it already priced in?
Viciously calm. So you got to ask the question, why? Well, it's simple, because when markets stop reacting to bad news, it means something bigger is controlling the flow. Let me say that again. When markets stop reacting to bad news, it means something
Changing
bigger
XRP, or
is
is it
controlling the flow. And here's
Partnerships and acquisitions. Partnerships is what really saves Ripple, in my opinion, because this is the first year that they have actually been positive. So welcome to the stream as well. If you're new, Terpreneur. But yeah, this is the most important factor. Without these partnerships, during the bear market, XRP would go kaput. It would just disappear. So I feel like the partnerships is what's saving XRP right now, and it becoming one of the main important major lines. Look at Ethereum. It doesn't have any partnerships. Look at, Bitcoin. It's the first one. Bitcoin is winning because of that. But when you look at the long-term price plan, you can really see that XRP is building something to be profitable even if the markets crash badly.
accidental. It is actually pre-positioning, which gets us over to this. Because suddenly on that same day, your Epstein files, they dropped. Everyone freaks out, right? Outrage in the markets. Twitter's exploding. Everyone says we're gonna dump, they're gonna find out who Satoshi is and that Bitcoin's linked. Bitcoin's gonna crash, it's gonna drag the rest of the market down with it. And then you realize when the data gets dumped that 90% of it is actually redacted. What did you think, folks?
Exactly, guys. So these Bitcoin files, like the files, they don't have nothing to do with XRP. But utility like Andrew Bustamante on Bitcoin, I never heard his name before, but utility matters, folks. That's what he said.
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. The same thing when you use crypto, when you send money cross borders. You're just going to do what you're used to doing, walking into your store.
Yeah, XRP is like focused on fixing that. When you are people even talking about sending Bitcoin yet? Because sending Bitcoin has gotten really expensive, like $5, $3. Yes, you have Bitcoin Lightning or whatever it's called, which is cool, but XRP, to send XRP should be like a fraction of a penny. When you send a bank transfer, why do you have to pay $20 to get it next day? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I remember I had to pay like $28. It makes 0 sense. It's your money, and it should be like a fraction of a penny.
Going online, but the back
And as you can see, XRP is trying to push up higher. My trade is up 2.6%.
end financial plumbing, it's going to be changed and it's going to handle everything. Now, he wasn't bullish here. He wasn't bearish, but what he was very specific. He said that real power, it doesn't live in hype. It lives in utility, in systems that move real assets, real value at a nation state scale. That's the part that most
Ripple will gift XRP escrow to the government, then they will 589 and reprice. They just use it as a store of value. Exactly. This is why I like Ripple, what it's doing as a company, and why I'm only trading Ripple right now on 2bit. It makes total sense because Ripple is the only one that's gonna stay at that time. It is the only one that can actually do all of this. Maybe there's gonna be other chains, but again, if retail comes in, which we are questioning right now, when and why retail comes, this is going to be the bullish momentum.
most people miss. Crypto isn't about numbers go up, green candles for days. It's actually about who controls settlement when the old pipes fail. And when bond markets crack, interest rate policies break, Japan, and liquidity dries up, utility is going to matter. That is why certain assets are being suppressed, delayed, litigated, and misunderstood. Because once they're live, guess what? There's no undo button, folks. There's no control Z.
This is the issue we have with XRP. Like, building an awesome product takes actual time. Building something for fun or building like a meme coin is really easy. It takes one day. And this is why people are complaining. Why is price still 1.91? Even me. Look, I have a trade open on 2bit And you can see here, 1.91, it doesn't want to go up. These things, they're going to take time. These partnerships, to have a partnership, it obviously takes a lot of time.
Undo that. Now, if you haven't got a call book, now's your time before it requires the full list to be submitted. Need information.
2.5 trillion Amazon is now hiring for Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem lead. So again, it starts everything with Bitcoin, then it goes to other like coins like XRP. Even with Doge, like Dogecoin, we saw what happened with Elon Musk. He went for Doge, but he also was open to accepting Ethereum, Solana. A lot of these companies do that, and they're going to accept the ones with most volume. And there's a huge volume from the markets in Korea, from US, which is a huge factor to get actually XRP out there.
From Ashish Birla saying that Amazon was a Ripple partner. So let's pivot to this because this actually matters. $2.5 trillion Amazon. They are looking to hire a Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem lead. Let that sink in. Not a blockchain researcher, not an NFT consultant. They are looking for an ecosystem lead. That's infrastructure language. That's settlement language. That's, hey,
they know, like Amazon obviously knows people will want to use crypto for payments. And this is what the entire selling point of XRP is right now.
We're integrating something massive and we need someone who already understands its language. Now, companies this size, they don't speculate. They prepare. And they don't hire publicly unless the decision has already been made internally. Something is coming in a massive way, everyone. And guess what? It's not optional.
Good tattoos ain't cheap and cheap tattoos ain't good. That's a great point. Great and functional products take time. I fully agree here. Like, this is the things that we are preparing for 2027, 2028. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, a lot of these meme coin projects, they might be around for one day, and then suddenly, after like 1 week, they're gone. Whoa, a big whale sells, and it's over, right? But with XRP, that's what I like about it, is it actually stays, and you check back, like, after 13 years, oh, they actually partner up with the biggest banks ever. It builds a lot of credibility and trust, which is very rare to find in crypto. You know, you have so many projects. Ooh, this is a very, like, this trade turns sour real fast. It's just what I'm telling you. The markets are so unstable right now. But yeah, it makes total sense that XRP is here to actually be even in like 10 years, for example.
Charter, they slashed it in half. Kathy Wood, she revised lower. Retail hear that and thinks, uh-oh, maybe it's over. Maybe they were right this whole time. Bitcoin already topped. But you know what the institutions here? And you know what they think? Perfect. Cheaper entries. Less attention now. Bingo! Folks, this is textbook narrative compression. Lower expectations. They shake your confidence. And they accumulate quietly behind.
I mean, I feel like the only part I wouldn't agree with him here is that they're accumulating quietly. I think most of these big banks already bought their XRP for very cheap, and they're going to keep buying until like the end of times. Like, they are going to keep buying because they expect people to, you know, come back at some point. They're buying for a reason. They're buying for the ETFs. They're buying for volume.
People uncomfortable. There's a theory out there gaining traction, and it's not coming from hype accounts. The idea behind this theory is that Ripple's escrow was never meant for open market sales. It was pre-allocated institutional liquidity.
A lot of companies bought XRP. They're even trying to buy XRP coins directly. XRP NFTs would be funny. But XRP RWA, I think, you know, NFTs were a great point to start discovering what XRP could be. I'm personally thinking XRP is going slightly up here. You know, what XRP NFTs could be and turn it to XRP real world assets. People holding real world assets. That's the big thing.
Think about it. 64 billion sitting there, not as a dump risk, but as a ready to deploy settlement fuel. If that's true and the logic tracks, then XRP isn't competing with Bitcoin. It is doing something completely different. It is aligned.
So yeah, as you guys can see, I open a trade on 2bit right now, but the markets are so shaky. Like, it's a battle between bears and whales, and obviously I have a pretty big position size here, so it's throwing me up and down the boat.
with institutional settlement systems, with your cross-border liquidity, and your financial plumbing that replaces broken bond markets and correspondent banking. Now that changes everything, because assets positioned for global liquidity crises, they don't move like memes. They move when they
See, it's absolutely shocking today. Like, it's just pushing lower. And I'm thinking the bottom is like 1.8, which is pretty bad. Like, when you think about it, we just invalidated in the last last 1 hour, we lost everything we gained like today at this point. So we're back at the start. It's absolutely crazy what's happening to the market right now.
Bank of Japan.
So you got a pretty clear idea. 1000x tokenized news from Oscar. This is what we have.
XRP holders, that's a big, bold prediction, but I like it. I'm all here for it, all in. They're predicting a 1000x growth by 2030 in tokenization. The 71-year-old senator, a Bitcoiner, Cynthia Lumens, she's not seeking re-election. She's leaving Congress. So it's a big one. You know, she helped with the Genius Act, Clarity Act, of course, and we'll see what's next. Also, they are saying that the biggest names, the biggest...
I feel like politics and crypto is very hand in hand overall. So if politics do good, you know, XRP is going to go up, which is a double-edged sword. Again, if politics, tariffs go bad, you're going to see the markets go bad as well, which is not perfect, but you can see here, my trades are open. We're basically down and up 0.80% today because the markets are so crazy. And it's an important factor that nobody knows what's going to happen to XRP. But if you look at a 3-year plan, it's still looking bullish. If you look at short term, it's obviously like just going between the ranges that I told you in my price analysis, guys, between 1.8 and 2.
But no one knows the answer to the question. But everybody, we can just pitch in and predict, when will XRP bottom? What's the bottom? What's the floor?
So what's the floor to bottom? So I've been learning trading, guys. This is why I haven't been streaming as much. And from my analysis, like what the bottom is right now, whales and bears are fighting to see the price. Where is the price going to be? And what I found from, you know, on my own research is they're just fighting between 1.8 and $2. They, you know, some of the whales buy at $1.8 and sell it at $2, and the cycle repeats, right? They're just gonna sell at these two ranges. So right now 1.8, and until we either get in the short term $2 or 1.8, we're just gonna be going sideways. You can see a big whale has sold his large position at $2. Another whale sold at 1.92 to 1.8. And we're just trying to find a new green area.
Or when will actually stop and start
2-bit.
going
I'm using 2-bit for the platform.
onwards, right? And ahead and up. And I want to show you this on the screen because every single price that you see, the 201, the 220, the 202, the 201, the 221, and right now the 192, that's a Saturday. Welcome, fam. XRP Army, happy Saturday.
Look at that. It just up and down, left and right. It's like a boat, basically, at this point. And nothing's changing. Nothing really is changing, and I don't think it will for foreseeable future. It just doesn't give the whales enough hope. Even if they have a momentum, all they care is about the price. And you can see the price is going exactly on the line I showed you guys. So 2 to 1.8.
Oh, got destroyed. It happened, right? There's no way to avoid it. A lot of people just are, you know, kind of skipping trading and just buying and holding, which is okay. I know some of you do it, guys. But if we get the answer to the question, then I believe we can all in, right? I mean, we can just go ahead and make an executive decision and say, from this point forward, let's just start exploding our bags and hopefully buy as much as we can in the bottom, because then that will imply it's not going to go much lower, and then we can not only buy the dip holding but also start putting some positions trading, because you remember the way
that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm learning trading, because I want to understand why is XRP going down. I'm trading on 2-bit. Again, I have my trades open for anyone to watch. That's like very transparent here. Because I want to see, I wanted to know what makes it bad. And you can actually check the trades here. I'm using on 2bit. I'm running on competition there. Someone just sold 87K of XRP. Again, 87K, 87,000 of XRP, and then he just bought it back and sold it. It doesn't make any sense, right? And someone bought 20,000 of XRP, 21,000. So it gives you a very clear idea is that the whales are playing their game right now, and they're playing with big numbers.
To make a lot of money in crypto, buy and hold for years, which makes sense. A lot of people have done it in the last 10 years, especially those who bought Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, XRP, right? Very, very cheap. But I've learned that trading is a much better way if you want to make a lot of money much faster. But the problem is that over the last 3 months, October, November, December, like
it's hard to make trades in this because if the markets are just going sideways or there's not enough volume, you can't see clear candles. Like these candles can be invalidated super fast, right?
bloody months that I will tell you I was wrong. What do you mean? What exactly were you wrong? I was wrong because I expected a much better Q4, and we got one of the worst.
I mean, I feel like all of the YouTubers expected a massive bull run rally for XRP, and what we got is a nothing burger. We got bear market canceled, Christmas gift canceled. We didn't really get what we wanted it to get.
But even though we didn't get what I expected, what I want, and I think what a lot of people, even the experts, like many people that are way above my pay grade, we all wanted to see the Q4 that it's a post-halving year, because 2024 we got the Bitcoin halving and 2025 is supposed to be the bull market. That means that the 4-year cycle, again, as we know, most of us know, it's over. It's gone. It's dead. That could also imply that we got delayed because of the shutdown. And that could also imply that probably the whales and the suits and the manipulators and the whole market is waiting for 2026. As we know for a fact, again, we know for a fact that there's much better things happening in 2026.
This is true. I think could be like a setup. XRP, like long term, could be like a setup for 2026. But again, if we get below 1.8, what I was telling you guys, this could be signaling a bear market until like June.
As far as breaking news and catalyst, the perfect storm can be happening in 2026. But nonetheless, in 2025, we got incredible news that we were waiting for since 2024 and 2023. Like all those news we wanted, and we got it in 2025.
I guess a lot of partnerships, but that didn't really affect the price that much. The price affected the price, like the price got affected really when the price simply went up
But
for
it
Bitcoin.
didn't materialize. You feel me? Drop a like, guys. Consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on the notification bells. And welcome. I mean, as we're ending this year, crazy year, this yellow line represents the end of the year. And all I'm saying is, I'm also hearing from such experts, and I'm not calling myself an expert, okay? But I'm watching those big hedge
If you trade every day, like XRP, understand what's going on.
fund managers and the people that we all know. And they're saying now early in Q1, early in January, maybe a Bitcoin all-time high.
Now, this is what I don't believe. They're calling a January Bitcoin all-time high. I personally don't believe that. I believe we could be entering a bear market. A lot of times these experts are just wrong or don't tell the full story, you know, and that's totally fine. But don't come in like coming into January and thinking, okay, we're all going to make so much money. No, it's risky and we don't know what happens. And for sure, these experts don't always tell you a clear idea, or everyone that, you know, because if we did know 100%, the whales would be like, we would all be millionaires, trillionaires. It's nothing is certain, and maybe the same thing is gonna happen like for Q4,
which is gonna be awesome if it happens. That's why we will go back to the main question, right? When will XRP bottom? And I want you guys watching to post in the comments and give me your thoughts. What is the price you think XRP will bottom?
I think personally, yeah, be like 1.5 is gonna be pretty bad if it happens.
Considering that we have about 11 days for this year to end. So I want to see those prices. Click in the first link down below and join me on BTCC. I got this right here.
So I'm trading personally on 2bit, but again, every time we try to push for a newer high, look what happens. We get like sideways trading, traders are unsure, or we get invalidated by whales. The charts on 2bit that I'm doing right now tell you the full story. So if you guys want to join me on 2bit, link in the description below. But it does seem like we have a big whale on the rise, where on the 30th of November, we saw a big whale dump, and then the big other whale said, I don't care, I'm going to buy all of your, dumps that you did on the market. So there still is optimism in the market, but obviously every single time the big red candles you see. Let's talk about another red candle I'm seeing here. 12th of December. Again, this can be only done by a big whale from 2.4 to 1.97. And you can see the trading book here. The big whales are still selling. Why are they selling? Maybe they know more than us.
So exciting, right? With family and friends. This is why we can't have nice things, because we were pumping and dumping and pumping and dumping. It's just crazy, right? So this 177, as you can tell, doesn't mean that we are never going to go back to 177. If you notice here in the prices, that's why I have it, right? We are going lower little by little. Like this is back in mid-November, and we are past mid-December. So in this whole month, we have seen some manipulation crashes, some reversals, and once again, the sell-offs. And once again, the liquidity coming back in. So
whales playing their oldest book, selling, buying low, buying at $1 and keeping to sell.
It is a tough market, but if you're doing day trading, scalping, right, this is heaven for you. Why? Well, because you need the volatility.
You need the volatility, but this is just trading sideways right now from what I'm seeing. I'm going to open positive, like, it's hard to even say because the red candles don't really give you a certain scenario. But honestly, a short isn't so bad here. Like taking a profit, a stop loss, it kind of tells you the clear idea of what's happening right now is they are pushing to XRP for lower. Maybe they're getting invalidated. Who knows?
If you know how to do things, if you know how to read the charts and act and get out, like this is exactly the market that you want, because you know XRP so well that you can put ahead of the game, and instead of holding XRP, you can trade XRP and make a lot more money. So I always tell people the two sides of the story, right? Personally, I'm buying and holding because I'm busy, life.
Yeah.
I don't have time for me to just stay.
Guys, if you want, join me. Link in the description below. You can actually trade live. This is something that I'm doing. I'm opening trades because sometimes you can absolutely see that like the whales are trying to push higher.
Sitting here for hours and just watching the markets. I don't have the time, right? I'm not doing it voluntarily. But some of the people much younger or much wiser, or people who just want to make money that day, specific target. Let's say you want to make $2,000 every single day, you can. So if you're one of those, of course, join us. You can find all the links and all the bonuses, all the welcome bonuses, and a community right here on this channel. So personally, and here's the answer from me, like my answer to as far as what is the bottom for XRP. This has to be in a range, right? I cannot tell you a price because we don't know that. Like there's no way for us to tell.
I mean, we need an action. We need either to push through $2 or to break down below 1.8. It's simple as that.
But there's going to be a range, and that range is not going to be under $1. I believe we're not going to go under $1 XRP, meaning that all of the 2024 time that you had under $1, it's gone. That's the way I see it. Okay.
In order to get back to $1, we would need to see like a serious bear market. Like something needs to like break apart to see $1 again.
So I'm raising my hand because we got 50, 60 cent XRP, which is great. And I always, when I go live, you guys tell me, man, I was able to buy XRP at 18 cents, 20 cents, which is incredible, right? So I don't see us going under $1. But in 11 days, things can change fast like lightning, right? And people have been selling because of taxes too. So I think,
I mean, $1, it kind of would make sense if it's at 1.5 already to stop out at 1.2. But the lower we get, the more resistance we're building up. The more are going to be people like, I'm not going to sell for 1.10. And this is where the whales will scoop up and buy it until it goes back to 3.
from 150 to 170, that's the bottom for me. 150, 170. And we went to 177. So that is the upper bottom tier that I have. 150, 170. So I still have some room for more dips because of just how everything looks. We're not going to go back to the 120 back in October 10 because of the massive liquidation. I think 150, 170 sounds fair to me. Tell me in the comments what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching. Happy weekend again.
So yeah, it does make sense that, pushing past higher would be great.
Companies.
We have 1000x news. And again, look, it's trying to push back above, back to $2 range. If it can sustain, that would be absolutely amazing, right? But if it cannot sustain that, well, we're just going to trade sideways for a bit. Maybe even tomorrow, maybe even this week. Again, we need some whale, we need some catalyst news, we need Bitcoin to do something as well. It's not going to be so easy right now.
Is the biggest families, the biggest, industries. They're all hoarding and buying more Bitcoin.
So that's something I'm doing live on 2Bit. Also competitions, guys. If you want, join me, link in the description below. But Oscar Ramos has 1000x tokenized news.
And that connects really well because Michael Saylor just hinted another Bitcoin purchase. And next week we have numbers, data that is going to released. So get ready. As you know, guys, here on the channel, we'll keep you in the know with the latest updates news. So drop a like, let us know in the comments down below. But before I tell you everything, XRP fam, because we're always watching the charts, we're always watching the numbers. Many people ask me, well, when are we gonna pump? What's happening? Well, there's a chart I want you to see because I think it's important. And it's coming from Coin Bureau and kind of like gave me an idea. And that's
altcoin dominance hits 5-year low. So it kind of tells you a story if XRP is the only one. Again, the only one that actually made a breakthrough other than Zcash and maybe Solana. All of the other ones, like even Ethereum, it's not altcoin season. The retail is not in yet. It's like corporations coming in now.
why I'm talking to you today.
5-year low. So
The altcoin dominance, because we always talk about the Bitcoin dominance, right? How it's 59, 60, 55, less than 40, whatever. But you guys ever heard the term, right? Altcoin dominance and why we're not growing as fast as we used to? It's because a lot of people are hoarding and putting their focus on Bitcoin, right? Meaning all the capital is just going to one side of the aisle while the rest of the crypto is just not taking any money. So basic math, right? You add more here from the supply of money that you have and not much is going to altcoins. That's why you see tremendous manipulation, especially, if you saw Ethereum, XRP, Solana might pump 20% one day, but the next day is down 30%. They're getting this data from, if we come to TradingView, there's something called Crypto Total Market Cap 1, 2, and 3. 1 is everything, all crypto. 2 is excluding Bitcoin, and 3 is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum.
So yeah, it definitely tells me the retail is not here. Like, it's not here at all. And it probably doesn't want to stay if you look at that. We're still a far out from really getting to there.
So this is 3, total 3, and we're at $832 billion. So you take out the first two, our market is only $832 billion, which sounds like a lot of money, but guess what?
No, this is a very small market. We used to be at 3 trillion. Again, 3 trillion. This is excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum. So a lot of these altcoins, they don't have the same chance that they didn't even have the same chance like as we were hoping for in the past. They have way, way, way less chance for grow now. Not like 2021.
This is gonna sound so crazy, but Elon Musk, he's $750+ billion net worth. So Elon Musk can be its own crypto market. I'm just telling you guys.
Like Nvidia, that was the one that people really looked for this year. There were plenty of others that people wanted to look for at this point.
These are the facts. So imagine if he launches a coin. I mean, that's the biggest influencer, right? Drop a like, everybody. Consider subscribing. We'll tell you the latest.
So yeah, it just seems like Nvidia is owning the entire crypto market cap. A lot of attention from 2021 went into different coins. And this can tell you, XRP is not getting the same attention it should deserve, or at least people are hoping it gets. So let's take a look here. Actually, look, 4-hour chart is not looking that well.
So the altcoin market, Bitcoin is getting a lot of that liquidity, where crypto as a whole right now is 21, 4, 5. We haven't been able to really pass a 1 trillion just out of Ethereum and Bitcoin. We're always hovering the under 1 trillion, right? Meaning, if I come here, this is the weekly, by the way. So it's been, since October, it's been 10 weeks, 70 days that crypto's been.
70 days. Time flies. But it really tells you the whole story. XRP still... It's kind of just like these 17 days is just trying to break a pause.
Lagging. Yeah. We're not going to see progress as long as this chart continues. We'll come back to this. Listen to this.
You have a lot of countries around the world that are actively buying. If you go to, the UAE, if you go to a lot of countries, they are actively putting that in their treasuries. And you look at the Fortune 500 companies, they are actively hoarding Bitcoin. The biggest families, the biggest companies, countries, sovereign wealth funds, and individuals are all hoarding Bitcoin, right? It's why it's been as explosive as it is. And you have a lot of countries around the world.
So he's telling you.
So yeah, big names are buying into altcoins XRP. But retail, it might be 2026, but it might even be 2027, in my honest opinion. It's not going to be like perfect at this point.
They are doing it. Okay? So, Grayscale tokenized assets could grow 1,000x by 2030, Grayscale says. So, tokenized assets are just 0.01% of global markets, but could grow 1,000x. So, demand for Ethereum, Binance, Solana, Avalanche, Chainlink, HBAR, Ondo, and more. That is why we're getting onto those altcoins before this whole thing starts. We haven't really seen tokenization expand, right? So if they do that and Wall Street starts realizing, oh man, those are the players that we should be.
So tokenized assets are 2030. This is why I don't believe in tokenized assets as someone who has some experience. Look at the prices now, 192. And guess what, guys? Look what happened with SHIB 4 years ago. A lot of things can change in 5 years. A lot of people don't agree with this. Can't even pass $2, 1000x, still won't move 25 cents. We're expecting maybe a growth by 2030. I think this growth could be sooner, but it's not going to be 2025. It's like a few days left until 2025. But it does make sense that we could be seeing another bull run rally on, let's say, for example, this point, Grayscale, like 2027.
No, because we're talking about XRP here. She is not the greatest ally for altcoins or XRP. She had a chance to talk to Brad Garlinghouse in Congress, right? Before Congress, Brad and other different leaders attended and they were speaking, and she basically ignored the whole panel. everyone in the panel asking, the senators, they were asking questions about whatever, the SEC, Ethereum, securities, and Ripple. But she was the only one that just ignored the whole panel, and she was just talking to the chair. And that's it.
All right, that's interesting. Goodbye to one of its strongest. Oh, Crypto is saying thank you and goodbye. I guess like she was really into crypto and XRP army loved her, but something happened in politics. I'm not too sure. And they just went a full 180, right? But this tells you a full story. Dominance hits a 5-year low. Again, if dominance was high for altcoins, XRP would be now at $6. And Bitcoin would be much lower. Bitcoin is capturing most capital while altcoins lag behind. Literally, we had a terrible market for altcoins, and it's like taking years really in the crypto space right now. It's not gonna take just days.
It's like, hey, when are you gonna look at these technologies, right? That are gonna help tokenization? Because Bitcoin is not gonna do that. You're talking about a different type of utility. You feel me? So they haven't realized what's coming yet. And Michael Saylor says, green dots beget orange dots. So he's buying more. He's buying more, but also like his investors are buying more as well. So yeah, he has 59 billion right now. If Bitcoin crashes, they will be forced to sell Bitcoin, and forcing a further crash. So they are keeping the boat afloat. Literally, when they buy, they're keeping the boat afloat of itself. Keeping everybody checked, right, for crypto and updated. And I'm excited, man. So the letter says October PCE inflation Monday, Q3 GDP Tuesday, CB consumer confidence data Tuesday, new home sales data Tuesday, durable goods Wednesday, stock market closed Thursday because of Christmas, and more shutdown data coming this week. So there you have it, everybody. I want to invite you also to our BTCC.
So yeah, look guys, if you check my 2bit account, we're literally 1% up. The markets, we're just going to keep it holding for now. We do have XRP. Are you seeing this? Seems like, we're just seeing here. I want to see more than 1% gain because I'm greedy. And then we can actually close out this trade live. This is the most important factor right now. On 2bit, if you guys want to join me, link below. But yeah, XRP, are you seeing this? Smash that like button. I'm thinking live trades here because I want to know how the XRP market works. I want to play with the whales, not just be against the whales.
Just a couple hours ago, which is good. But I'm just saying, man, the news and everything happening today, plus Bank of Japan, as we predicted, as we talked about it, yesterday, they raised the interest rate. So there's things that are affecting the market. It's obviously one for traders to do and to enjoy because they want to make money. Take a look at this right now for the price of XRP. Went up 7%, which is nice. Now it's down.
No, I don't think 7% is enough for XRP. It deserves much more. Smash that like button if you guys agree. But the problem right now with XRP is 7% can be invalidated very fast. Look at my trade, for example. Invalidated. Very, very fast. It can be destroyed. And that doesn't it can literally change all in an instant. So it kind of tells you the full story here of what's going on.
Down as we wake up, as we're receiving Friday. But let me tell you the full story, guys, because we have Trump. The administration says that we're closer than ever to passing the crypto market legislation that's called Clarity Act. Everybody wants the Clarity Act. Japan raising by 25 basis points. So, yep, that usually brings
realistic exit point for XRP. Again, this is not financial advice, but right now I'm waiting for it to go from welcome Gary TTC 2030 to the stream. I'm waiting for it to go from 1.8 to hit 1.8 or hit 2. There's no middle ground for me until it hits those levels, and I'm just gonna keep waiting until it hits those levels because it's obviously not moving right now. And until that happens, you never know. So who knows? It's gonna be hard to break through at $4. There's a resistance level there. It can't even push past $2 right now. It's just trying to push back up, but it will eventually, in my honest opinion. And then 2026, the sky is the limit, right? Maybe we could see 2.5 again. Not financial advice, 2.4. Let's see.
Down the market, we have today at 1 p.m.
Maybe 3.
East. We'll be watching, guys. We also have this one that
So yeah, it seems like a lot of news we have for pro crypto. Trump and his administration says we're closer than ever to passing the landmark crypto market structure legislation. This is something that has been very, very, very important for crypto. But again, the ETFs speak volumes. The ETFs don't bring enough volume to make the market different. If you check my trades over here, I'm literally up now 2%, but it's going up so slowly. When we had it, a past few months, it was way, way better at that point.
is also
It was just like, it was hitting 5% per minute. And now it's just like, what? I should be happy with 4%? Yes. I mean, it's just going to go back down. You're going to see I'm going to try to close this trade and it's instantly going to go down back to, between 1.88 and 1.95. This is why I haven't built my trading bot yet.
might be a signal that we're getting closer and closer and closer to a bottom, right? Which I like. This is good. It just comes to show that these are the events that the world waits, and even coming back with the hike, right, for Japan, right? I mean, I'm just having someone new for the CFTC, right? I like it.
It's good we have pro crypto, but seems like a lot of regulation is happening right now, but the prices are not moving. Like less and less people care about crypto and XRP.
Be price predictions when you ask about XRP futures and what's next. All I'm saying is, you see all those dips.
Yeah.
All those dips have nothing to do with XRP. It's just about the manipulation on the market and everything.
Guys, if you also want to join me on 2Bit, link in the description below. That's something I'm doing right now. I'm analyzing trades live as well and taking trades live on my trading journey. So smash that like button.
We've seen how we go up and up.
There's
and
a XRP competition we have right now as well, which is pretty cool.
people are for sure finding some relief that they see XRP in the green, but immediately we get punished. That makes sense. It doesn't sometimes, but at the end of the day, people are buying. I bought the XRP dip and I like it.
I mean, you could buy the dip, but at some point it's going to become catching a falling knife. That's what I'm worried about. Like at some point, the crypto crash is going to be real.
I mean, it just adds more to my bag. So when the time is right, if we zoom out, right, come all the way right here, we're going to see how we are at the bottom. Back in June, back in April, back in, the beginning.
Well, the worried part about this, looking at this chart back in June, is every time we see 3.66, we can't hold the resistance. Like we hit this double bottom, basically. Another bottom, one bottom. Yes, these are bottoms, but every time we get a rally, it gets pushed back, and it gets pushed back down hard. It gets pushed back down, to the previous rallies, like where the previous rally bottoms were. And you can see exactly as my experiment I told you guys, we're going down minus 1%, because if you keep the trade too long and not paying attention, it's literally going down. It's just trading sideways.
Beginning of the year, February 2. We are at that bottom right now, guys. If I bring my Bollinger Bands too, I love them. And I noticed that if there was a chance, if there was a time for us to go all in, or for us to do and convince ourselves that the time is now, it's today, right? Now, could we go lower? Yeah, but it kind of looks like, if I open the order size, the same thing. It kind of does look like that we are already getting and scratching the bottom, right? And
I think the bottom, the best chance to buy would not be like when it's 2%, 1.9. It's the best chance would be at like 40 cents, 50 cents. It's hard to predict that, but that's when the lawsuit was over, a lot of these whales started buying in. That's when they really started really buying massive amounts. Exactly when lawsuit was over and when Trump was elected.
the surface is only looking at us from the top and saying, we're going to see you soon. So you're now aware of all the things occurring the last 24 hours and incoming, right, for this weekend. I'm excited. Of course, the year is ending, and I'll be prepared, for whatever's to come. But every single day we'll keep you in the know, guys, and we'll of course thankful. So my community watching, hold the line. We're not leaving, and I just wanted to keep you in the know with the latest. What's going on Triple Witching event today? A lot of things happening, of course. Take a look at this. Bitcoin has historically ranged between 6 to 9% around triple witching periods.
And again, I wouldn't focus that much the past on what is the future. You can already see today I'm down like 27 cents at this point. It's not been a perfect market.
So followed by stabilization once expiration pressure clears. There's going to be a lot of pressure today, volatility. If you cannot handle that, I wouldn't be opening any options today. That's just me.
I kind of agree with that. Like, it's super risky right now to enter the XRP positions. A lot of people who are bullish are getting liquidated by the whales. If you guys want to join me, link in the description below as well for 2Bit, where I do my trades. But we do have another one. XRP liquidity is back. Liquidity is back for the first time since 2020. The federal market is injecting liquidity. In the past, this has often pushed markets into risk-on mode with stocks and crypto and other risk assets benefiting. So it does seem like that we are hearing at least some good news. Unlike before, we were hearing only bad after bad after bad news.
Here that we're looking at between the business liquidity cycle and XRP and the total cryptocurrency market cap. So let's get right on into it, folks. Liquidity is back for the first time since 2020. The Federal Reserve is injecting liquidity. In the past, this has often pushed markets into risk-on mode, with stocks, crypto, and other risk assets benefiting the most. Right? If you understand what happened last time with XRP, and folks are going to say, this is them buying back short-term T-bills. This isn't liquidity coming to XRP. Not yet. It's that trickle-down effect where that market starts to turn risk on once again.
So yeah, this is the good part I have here right now. Look, this one, 6 billion. Again, this is not a huge position, but them purchasing bills is a positive direction. This is going to be around April to December. 6.8 billion now is not like massive. Didn't China just do 1.9 billion? But they did that into their own markets. They're not going to do that into the US markets itself.
Rolling back stuff that goes back a couple decades here, right? These are big issues that we're trying to unpack. And so this administration has been working, this Congress has been working rather slowly. I would like them to pick up the pace. But with President Trump getting to bring in his Fed pick next year in May, right? Before we even get Trump's Fed pick, we're already getting a Federal Reserve, which is now finally delivering rate cuts. And they're starting to do buybacks, which is the precursor to QE. They're not.
I mean, buybacks are the main thing that's been promised to us to increase the prices. Literal buybacks are the big thing. Like, that's what a lot of these XRP traders were saying, hey, this is what's really going to change XRP. The US government buying XRP. And then we heard nothing about it for over a year. 1 year has passed and there was nothing about it that changed.
Not going to come out and it's not official QE, but it's reserve management. And now we've seen that spike in the repo market. That we haven't had that in 5 years. They've been using the reverse repo facility, but this is the first time since 2020 that we've seen liquidity come back to the repo market. And you know what happened then, right? We'll show you on the chart if you forgot. So we're going to take you right now back to the Purchasing Managers Index. And this is from the Institute of Supply Management. The index here is called the ISM. And I already did one video.
XRP isn't dead, but it is trading sideways. That's the issue I have right now. It needs some sort of a push. Because otherwise, it's just going to be an easy pickings for the whales.
January 2016.
Welcome to the stream.
And then we topped out in February of 2018. Well, let's slide over and see what XRP did during that time.
Like, there's nothing indicating XRP would be dead. If XRP would be dead, then it would have no volume. And if you look at the volume here, there's people selling. Look, there's just someone, as I'm speaking 5 seconds ago, bought $5,000 here on the exchange itself on 2bit. So it kind of gives you a clear idea of what's going on right now. It's just that my trades, it's going sideways because the whales from Korea and USA are making massive bank probably from it. So look at this. It gives you a clear idea. Bam.
Oh, that's right. I wanted to show you here how low. I forgot. I was wondering why my chart was so off. When you take a look here, I mean, we were so low. We were at half a penny.
So you were 60% down. I think this is a pretty good indicator showing you what's actually happening with the markets today. Why the markets are down. That crypto is sometimes like that.
For XRP back in January 2016, you get this big nasty 60% pullback as the bull run was getting started here in 2017. And then I got to zoom out to this chart to show you where we went to right here back in January 2016. You can't even see that. You can't even see this on the XRP chart. Let me get this into frame for you guys over here. You can't even see XRP at half a penny over here. We slide on over, XRP pumps 61,000% up to $3.31.
So yeah, 61,000. I don't think that's going to happen again, but it shows you a pretty clear outline that a lot of these whales are waiting for another big pump. Now the pump now is going to be much, much smaller. But I'm still very, very excited. Even if we get like a 200% pump, even if we get 20% pump, like that would be fine with me. As long as it's a pump that we can understand on and that we can get XRP to do anything at this point.
In January of 2018, 1 month before going back, that ISM peaked out February 2018. So in February 2018, this tops out. When does XRP top out? January 2018. Great. Now we go to 2020 when this thing bottomed out down here at about 41 for the ISM in April of 2020 during the depths of the 2020 end of the world simulation event. And then just 11 months later, about 1 year later.
Again, I want to reiterate, this is the time where we had a lot of retail. Now we don't have a lot of retail. So it kind of worries me that, a lot of these YouTubers are comparing, like Zach Rector, I love him to bits. I love him. But he's comparing a lot of the data, a lot of the graphs that are from before when there was many more basic buyers interested in altcoins. Altcoins are at all-time low.
Tops out April 2021. So basically the same exact time.
But when you look at my charts over here, I'm doing on 2bit myself, you can obviously see the price is going down. I can't even have a positive trade. Like I'm down 30 cents today or whatever. It's not that big of a problem, but it tells you there's a clear issue here that a lot of people don't notice.
That we're topping out here in the ISM up here. Right? And I measured here, this is 11 bars. This is on the monthly chart for the ISM. So you got nearly a 1 year period from the bottom of the ISM to the top, and our economy went way into expansion, way into good times are rolling. Everybody was getting checks. We were printing money. Fed was doing QE. That money printer was going burr like never before. And what did it lead to? It led to another rally for XRP all the way up here to $1.96, and we fell short then, right? But same exact correlation, basically bottoming out at the same time and topping out at...
So it bottomed out in 2020, so 5 years ago. If we look on the graph over here when it bottomed out, so let me pull up this graph, what the trading volume was like on 2020. So this was about 9th of May. So let's go take a look. 9th of May is when it literally bottomed out at a very, very low price point. The volume for 9th of May was about 2.6 billion. The volume we had on the price of the pump was 10 billion. So 5 times more volume to see this type of price pump. So my point is, it's way, way easier to make a pump when the markets are smaller. Because the one of the whales can buy. Obviously, we had 20 billion volume here. Had 10 billion, 12 billion. Oh, geez, we even had, 5, 7 billion. You can't even look because it was just for one day. And then we had 3 billion, say 8 billion. We need to push out for 20 billion volume. Usually volume is a good indicator that the price goes up.
At basically the exact same moment. We go back to the ISM chart. We went into contraction when? October 2022. What happened in November of 2022 to our crypto market? It blew up with FTX. And that's when Bitcoin, XRP, and the broader crypto market went into contraction as well with the rest of the economy. This indicator is spot on. The correlation with the crypto market is incredible. And it eventually bottoms out in June of 2023. Now, because we had the FTX collapse there in November 2022, a lot of the cryptos bottomed out during that time.
So you can see my trade over here. It's actually just around like up and down. So I'll just keep it open and see what happens tomorrow with it, honestly.
In October, November of 2022. For XRP, it's interesting. We actually bottomed out in June of 2022. So if I take you right here to the XRP chart during that time, XRP actually bottomed out at 28 cents in June of 2022. So it's a little bit before that. And then you slide on over in June of 2023, this is when the ISM bottomed out. We had still been in a bear market, but because crypto pulled back so hard, right, in 2022, and you'll see the XRP drop took place right here, right into the first part of November. This took XRP back down to about 31 cents during the FTX collapse. We were up.
So these are the major catalysts. So what this video is telling me is we need some form of a major catalyst. Otherwise, it's not looking good. That's what I'm getting from this video, if I understand correctly. The major catalyst, nothing happening so far, as I know, in December.
Rolling the XRP was not a security. But we go back to the ISM. And we're going to look here. It bottomed out in June of 2023 at about 46. And then it finally went back into expansion after President Trump got elected in the first part of January 2025. Take a look. So we bottomed out here, June 2023. And then we get back into expansion up to about 51 in January of 2025. Well, what was happening to our crypto market during that time, right? That's when basically all of the altcoins.
This is the major catalyst. The major catalyst event we need to see is government buying like XRP.
2023, this was a great time to buy.
I mean, this is when whales could be buying for very cheap.
Interest rates are coming back down. Big tax cuts and refunds and checks already coming out. And we're talking about that coming in 2026. So it took us all of 2025 to unwind all of this crap. So we basically topped out here right as President Trump came in, but then we...
So a lot of the price could be delayed. This is one thing I agree. Maybe 60 days, maybe 100 days from now, this is when we're really going to be seeing the price changes, and that's what I'm excited about.
Hey, it's Camila.
So let's check this. Why XRP could be repriced, banks aren't trading it. I mean, it's amazing, but XRP right now still isn't used by the banks for some reason. Camilla Stevenson has been popping up, and I wanted to actually check what's up because a lot of why are so many whales dumping XRP? As you can see on my 2-bit trades, a lot of the XRP whales want out. They are selling it at $2. They're selling it 2.5. They're even selling it at 1.8. So it makes you consider what's happening with XRP.
That misunderstanding is the real reason so many people feel stuck or impatient right now. Now, before we start, this is not financial advice. This is education and perspective so you can think more clearly about what you're watching on the charts. And if you like this kind of breakdown that helps you see things more clearly, go ahead and hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a comment below. I'm curious, do you think about XRP more like a trade or more like a long-term system asset? Now, one of the biggest mistakes that people make in markets is evaluating things with the wrong framework. We do this all the time in life. You wouldn't evaluate a highway the same way you evaluate a coffee shop. You wouldn't judge a
This is what I like about XRP right now is obviously a lot of these whales right now, they are hoping for the big future of XRP, and they're planning their future on the RWA, which will take probably 3 to 5 years. And then the next part we have is very simply put on the collaborations with the bank. This is going to be where these whales think the big money is coming from.
distinction clicks, XRP will continue to feel confusing, not because it doesn't make sense, but because it's being looked at through the wrong lens. Now, once you fix the category, the next thing to understand is how systems define value. Retail tends to think about value in terms of price movement. That's why we're seeing so much frustration. And the frustration continues as the price go down. But I want you to understand how institutions think about value in terms of capability.
So they don't care that much about XRP token. They care more about how can I get our transfers for our clients fast and easy so they're going to be using our bank app more. That's what they're thinking from Ripple.
They're not asking, can this go up 20% this quarter? What they're asking instead is, can this move value when volume spikes? Can it settle without friction? Can it operate when other rails are stressed? And does it reduce uncertainty or add to it? That is the lens. Large financial systems don't break because an asset gets volatile. They break because money stops moving efficiently. And this includes settlement slowing down, liquidity fragments, counterparty risk starts to increase, and suddenly things that worked fine yesterday don't work at scale today. That's when value gets redefined. Assets that reduce friction becomes more valuable, and assets that introduce delay become liabilities. This is why infrastructure doesn't reprice the same way consumer assets do. It doesn't move because of excitement. It moves because of necessity. And necessity doesn't announce itself. It shows up in how...
Like banks need it. Banks really need XRP. They need Ripple. Otherwise, they wouldn't go to them. They would just try to find another alternative that doesn't offer crypto at all. But it seems like they have no other choice. They're going for Ripple, and they're going today.
Systems are built, tested, and integrated. And might I add, this is also why price is often the last thing to change. Because before price moves, you're actually going to see access being created, rails being tested, legal questions being resolved, and integration happening behind the scenes. It's always behind the scenes, y'all.
So these big partnerships, they potentially take lots and lots of years to work out. The big bank partnerships, I would say they worked at least 7-10 years to work, to build a report, to make those contracts. It's not so easy. And you can see here, a lot of people are complaining XRP is gone. No, it's quietly making trades.
And those changes don't trend on social media, and they don't show up as these big green candles that make you feel excited, but they do matter.
Sometimes these partnerships, they take little time.
More than the headlines, because once a system starts depending on an asset, the question isn't about it being interesting or not. It becomes what happens if this isn't available. And that's when behavior changes. And that's when positioning replaces speculation. And that's also when repricing becomes structural instead of emotional. And honestly, this is where a lot of people are getting frustrated because they're trying to evaluate system level changes with short-term tools. And if you've never studied how markets, liquidity, and infrastructure actually works, this can all feel counterintuitive. It feels slow and it feels disconnected from price, and it feels like you're missing something when in reality, you're just looking at it from the wrong altitude. Now, everything we're talking about, system design, liquidity, certainty, market behavior, this is not the kind of understanding that most people get from headlines or social media. It comes from learning how markets actually function. And that's why I'm constantly telling you to invest in Stock Up University. It's not all about the hype and all the signals. It's about building real market literacy and understanding cycles, reading structure, managing.
This is the most important factor why I started learning trading and actually opening trades on 2Bit. For a very simple reason. You know, these whales, they know why XRP is going down, and they know when it's going up. They probably even know some of these big trades that are happening behind the scenes. And that's what makes me like, excited for it.
You can afford to optimize for cost and you can afford inefficiency. But the moment
Exactly. They're going in huge. They're going in huge with the banks, and no one has ever done it before. But it requires time and planning.
stress enters the system, the priority changes. When something has to work, price stops being the deciding factor. The question becomes what works reliably, what removes uncertainty, and what gets the job done without risk of failure. And the moment those questions take over, value gets reassessed immediately, not emotionally or speculatively, but structurally. This is why certain things can be repriced very quickly when the environment changes. And it's not because people suddenly believe in them, but it's because the system needs them. And that's the part people misunderstand when they ask, can XRP really be repriced?
I mean, the reprice is literally what it is for itself. The reprice happens over time. It's not instant.
The answer isn't that it will. The answer is that it can under the right conditions. And here's the most important distinction.
XRP is definitely a financial infrastructure, not a stock, not a speculative asset. It's a different category. So new financial system. I mean, this is very possible. This is what people have been saying for years. If it's anyone to do it, it's XRP, because a lot of other cryptos need time to build it up. Could be other cryptos, but they'd be way too late for that.
XRP does not need an emergency to succeed long term. The future is still the future either way, but emergencies are the kind of environments that accelerate repricing, not create value out of thin air. They expose which assets are optional and which ones are necessary. If a system suddenly needs speed, finality, deep liquidity, and legal usability, and there are only a few tools that can provide that, those tools don't stay priced like conveniences. They get repriced based on necessity and not hype. And this is why I'm careful with language here. I'm not talking about predictions. I'm not talking about timelines. I'm not talking about guarantees. I'm talking about eligibility. XRP is eligible to matter when certainty becomes the priority. And once you understand that, the conversation totally changes. And the question is not ringing in your head about, again, why isn't this price?
People are asking me always, why is the price only $1.92? Is literally because Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin is tied to everything. Think of like asking like, why is this car not working? Well, the wheels aren't on. Like XRP is the car, Bitcoin is the wheels. If the wheels are off and like they aren't attached to the car, of course the car is gonna be like turning on the gas, but it's not gonna be running.
Price going to the moon, but it's about what happens.
You can very clearly see that's what's happening right now. It's not enough retail, and they're preparing for the retail.
Happens if the system suddenly needs what this asset was built to do. Now, as you understand that, I want to talk about the last mistake that people make with XRP. And this isn't about how they see it, it's how they plan around it. Most people build a game plan based on what they think the asset is. If you think XRP is a trade, your game plan will be buy here, sell there, try to time it, hope you don't.
I mean, that's what the whales are doing, and it's working pretty well. Like they're just buying 1.8 and selling it for 3. Bam, easy profit. They don't care. But a lot of people, I'm guessing, they're holding because they believe in long-term longevity.
With your understanding of the end result. If you don't understand what something is ultimately designed to become, you can't reverse engineer the right strategy. And that's why education matters so much here. Once you understand XRP as a system asset, not a flip, the game plan changes. Now it's not just about selling, it's about optionality. It's about what one asset can eventually enable. Using it as collateral, earning yield, borrowing against it, rotating it into cash flow businesses, diversifying without exiting, creating multiple income streams.
But people are interested in the price now, not later.
And that's why I spend so much time educating around this. Because if you can see the end picture clearly, you can work backwards and build a game plan that actually serves you. But if the end picture is wrong, even disciplined action won't get you where you want to go. this isn't about telling anyone what to do, but it is about helping people understand what they're holding. And when understanding changes,
So yeah, this is the same with Bitcoin. It needed a few years to build up. XRP had 13 years, but it's a pretty case in point on what's happening right now. It's going to take time. It's going to take lots of time for it to build. And I just feel that we're not going to be seeing XRP like explode in like under a year. I don't see that point, like over $4. It just doesn't seem possible to me. So everyone new to the stream, smash that like button if you want to join my XRP trading competition, which we are going to be opening right now. As you can see, XRP is at different times right now. I will keep you guys updated. I'm going to stream tomorrow as well, so subscribe for more. I love you all, and link in the description below if you want to get started trading on 2Bit with me.